October 2025. I didn't expect to be back in the desert again. The air here is dry, almost sterile, and the silence between the hills feels heavier than anywhere else in America. My name is Michael Grant, investigative journalist for the Pacific Ledger. For months now, I've been chasing what people online call the Nevada signal, a mysterious radar anomaly that appeared near Groom Lake, a few miles north of the infamous Area 51. It started as a rumor. A commercial pilot reported an irregular luminous object above the restricted airspace. Then two more pilots confirmed seeing something similar, a metallic body, motionless, defying wind and altitude. At first, I thought it was another social media hoax. But then the FAA records started vanishing. When I requested the radar logs for October 11th, the file came back blank. No trace. A colleague from Las Vegas told me it's not unusual, the military cleans that stuff up fast, he said. But something in his tone told me even he didn't believe the official story. I rented a car and drove out to Rachel, Nevada, a small town near the edge of the restricted zone. Locals were already whispering about a silent visitor. A waitress at the Little Ayla Inn said she saw a convoy of unmarked trucks heading toward the desert at 3 a.m. No headlights, she told me. No plates either. I recorded everything. GPS coordinates, eyewitness notes, timestamps. I thought I was building a story about secret aircraft tests, until I found a lead that made no sense at all. An anonymous email hit my inbox. It's not the military. Follow the symbols. Attached was a single image, an old wax seal with the square and compass of the Freemasons, overlaid on a modern satellite map of Nevada. I almost deleted it. Conspiracy nuts send me things like that all the time. But when I traced the image metadata, I found it originated from an IP address registered in Washington, D.C., specifically near Lafayette Square, 2 blocks from the oldest Masonic temple in the capital. I flew to D.C. the next morning. Inside the temple's public archive, I asked about the Nevada signal. The archivist, an elderly man in a gray suit, froze for a second before smiling politely. "I'm afraid we don't keep anything under that name," he said. "But if you're interested in our technological partnerships, you might find something in the annex collection." Technological partnerships. The Freemasons aren't exactly known for aerospace innovation. Still, I took his hint. The Annex archive contained a shelf of declassified papers from the 1980s, most about philanthropic projects. But in the middle of one folder, I found a letter marked Private Correspondence, Lockheed Division. It was dated 1983 and addressed to someone named R.G. Marston, a senior engineer at Lockheed Skunk Works. The letter described a joint observation experiment conducted under the supervision of a Masonic scientific council. The coordinates listed? Groom Lake, Nevada. I couldn't believe it. If authentic, this would mean that the Freemasons had been quietly funding aerospace experiments, possibly tied to unidentified aerial phenomena, for over 40 years. I took photos of the letter and left the building. That's when I noticed the same silver sedan that had followed me from the airport now parked across the street. I decided not to go back to my hotel. From a coffee shop near DuPont Circle, I uploaded the files to a secure drive. Within minutes, my inbox flooded again, this time with encrypted messages, all unsigned. One read, "Marston died in 1997. Look at the patents." That led me to the US Patent Office's digital archive. Between 1990 and 1998, Marston's name appeared on a dozen aerospace-related patents, most classified under private contractors. But one caught my eye: an electromagnetic field stabilization system for nonlinear flight dynamics. The filing address? A non-existent company called Aurora Initiatives, headquartered in Reno, Nevada. When I cross-referenced the registration, I found a dormant nonprofit with a single listed director, the Grand Lodge of Nevada, Independent Order of Freemasons. It was almost too perfect. I needed proof. So I returned to Nevada. 2 days later, at dusk, I stood outside a chain-link fence about a mile from Groom Lake. The sky turned blood orange. The desert wind howled across the sand. And then, there it was. A silent flash, a metallic glint against the dying light, hovering motionless. My Geiger counter clicked faintly. The signal was real. Suddenly, the object accelerated, a blur of light, gone in less than a second. My recording equipment picked up a burst of electromagnetic interference, followed by a short, encoded audio pulse. I ran it through a decryption tool later that night. The data was structured like Morse code, but instead of letters, it formed coordinates. Not in Nevada. Not even in the US. The coordinates pointed to Geneva, Switzerland. Back home, I compared the site with open-source satellite imagery. The coordinates landed exactly on a Masonic Research Foundation adjacent to CERN's data center. I reached out to a contact in Europe, a former intelligence analyst. She confirmed that several American contractors had recently been seen meeting with private donors in Geneva. They're calling it the Second Dawn Project, she said. And they're not working on spaceflight. They're working on control. When I asked what kind of control, she paused. Frequency. Information. Maybe even perception itself. That phrase haunted me on my flight back to the States. If the Nevada signal wasn't a spacecraft, maybe it was a test, a demonstration of how electromagnetic systems could manipulate what people see and believe. But who would need that kind of power? Back in DC, I confronted the archivist again. I showed him the photos of the Lockheed letter and the Aurora patent. His polite smile vanished. "You shouldn't have taken those," he said quietly. "The craft you saw, it's not alien. It's human. But not for the public." "Then who is it for?" I asked. He hesitated, then leaned closer. "For those who built the foundation of knowledge. We simply continue their work." I realized then that he wasn't talking about modern Freemasonry, not just a fraternity. He meant a network stretching back centuries, hiding in plain sight behind philanthropy, academia, and innovation. I pressed him for more, but he just turned and walked away. That night, I checked into a small motel outside the city. My encrypted drive was missing from my bag. No sign of forced entry. Only a card left on the nightstand, blank, except for one symbol, the square and compass. I never published the article. The Pacific Ledger received a cease and desist order 2 days later, citing national security implications. The editors dropped the story. But sometimes, when the air is dry and silent, I still hear that faint click, the same interference from Nevada, like a signal reaching out across the static. I don't know what it means yet. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's a reminder that the truth isn't out there in the stars. It's been buried here all along, beneath our feet, guarded by the architects of secrecy.